Hi, everyone. So my name is Anastasia. I'm from Kaiko. So Kaiko is a digital assets data provider. We provide a lot of data on a lot of cryptocurrencies from a lot of exchanges, covering both words, CeFi and DeFi. And my talk is about what's the fair price of ETH. So this question, I've been asking myself actually this question while working at Kaiko for now 5 years, because it seems meaningless like that, but it's a very, very important question. And when you do have the answer, you actually understand that this, like having the answer to that, can enable you to avoid many types of risks, like useless liquidations, for example, in DeFi or CeFi. So this is the topic of my talk today. And well, I chose ETH because we're at ETHWarsaw, but I'm not going to talk only about ETH. And I'm going to quickly begin by showing you this chart that basically shows that ETH is a very liquid asset. Liquidity here is presented through the volume. So there are dozens of billions of dollars of ETH traded across centralized and decentralized exchanges, which makes that we can think at first sight that there is basically price efficiency, market efficiency for this asset. However, we're going to see that it's not actually the case. In terms of numbers of markets, despite the volume, we do have a lot of markets. Here, a market is either a liquidity pool on a decentralized exchange or a pair on a centralized exchange. As you can see here, we have more than 3,400 markets that include ETH. ETH as a base asset or as a code asset. So ETH, again, is a stablecoin, a fiat currency, or any other cryptocurrency. However, there are still markets on which ETH isn't traded at the price, at a price near what we call the consensus price. For example, in this case, we do see that on Binance US, the execution price of the trades that happen on pairs like ETH-USDC and ETH-USDT is pretty far from the price on all the other markets we see there. And this is a sign of lack of efficiency in ETH markets, even in the most liquid ones, because here I really took ETH/USD or stablecoin. And when we include DeFi in there, so even Uniswap v3, one of the most liquid decentralized exchanges out there, we actually see that it's even worse. We do have outliers in execution prices that are way more far away than these we had on Binance US. So when we look here, indeed, there's a lack of efficiency, but when we actually look here, it's even worse. So this was about ETH. However, the situation is even worse when we look at illiquid assets, or at least less liquid than ETH. Here I took a medium-sized one, which is Doge against USDT on several centralized exchanges, which are represented by each color. And you can see that despite the outliers anomaly that we have seen in the other charts here, so basically some prices going away from the consensus, we do have another type of anomaly, which is the fact that on an exchange, we have a price, an execution price that follows the exact same trend as the consensus. However, there's a lag, a huge lag, and constant lag between this price and the rest. For now, ignore the line in black, but basically if you do the average price of all of that, you end up having something in the middle. And this is the point of my talk. This something in the middle isn't actually the fair price of Doge here. And this pattern is actually present in many, many markets and doesn't always concern the same exchange. So here I've represented in a random time frame the aggregated price of ETH against the largest stablecoin. So VWAP, for those that are not familiar, it's volume-weighted average price. And you see that even if it's ETH, it peaks down and up, which doesn't look very normal. And here I represented the exact same chart with Kaiko's aggregated price for the same asset. And we see that it's pretty smoother. And this is because exactly what I just showed you. There are a bunch of outliers in executed prices. And so if you do basically a very simple aggregation like a VWAP, it doesn't work for crypto for mainly statistical reasons. And these reasons is that crypto volumes and prices follow a very different statistical profile than traditional financial assets. VWAP works very well for equity or FX, but actually doesn't work at all for crypto assets. Here you have the distribution of ETH prices, and you can actually see, I didn't put the legend, but basically the mean is in green. The mean is in red, and the median is in green. And you actually see that compared to the actual distribution of prices, the median represents better this distribution than the mean. And VWAP is based on the mean. So you can be like, all right, then let's, instead of a VWAP, let's do a volume-weighted median price. But it's not that easy, because actually, if you look at the volume, so basically the weight of each executed trade within that price distribution, because it's volume-weighted average price, you actually see that we have the exact same problem. We have a volume distribution, which has heavy tails. And so in the end, we end up, if we do an average or even a median, we end up giving too much weight to prices that have very high volume and that are outliers with respect to the consensus. So we provide a solution to that. So we don't have it only for Dogecoin or for ETH. We actually can see that for BTC USD even. If you compare our solution, that is the blue price, to a VWAP or a volume-weighted median, which is in gray, you actually see many peaks out there. However, with Kaiko's price and crypto-tailored methodology, you actually see that the price is quite normal and actually made for these types of assets. Same for stablecoins, which are very sensible. When you represent their price with respect to USD, you see the same exact type of trends. So I didn't only compare our prices with different types of methodologies based on our data, because you may be like, all right, this is because the data set isn't complete enough, and so maybe there are not enough trades to represent correctly the price with a VWAP. But I actually compared it with other sources, like CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko after. And this is for a relatively liquid asset, INJ, of Injective Protocol. And very recently, actually 2 days ago, I received this notification on my phone telling me that the price of INJ went down 97%. This solution is made for retail, thankfully. However, if this had happened on a on-chain derivatives protocol for someone who was long on INJ, then it could have led to liquidations. And so you see, here you see at the exact time, same time period, the price of INJ against the USD compared to CoinMarketCap. CoinMarketCap has corrected this issue, but again, such use cases are very sensible to real-time data. So if you correct it afterwards, well, it doesn't have really much value. And we obviously can see that even for very, very liquid assets. So Ash is an asset related to an NFT collection. And it has only 2 markets on Uniswap. And if you check CoinGecko's price, historically, there are many outliers. The price goes up to $14 against its normal price, fair price, which is around 1.5. And Kaiko's price doesn't have the same behavior. Now, why outliers matter and why having a reliable, fair price actually matters. I'm going to show you 2 use cases, on-chain derivatives and on-chain lending and borrowing. So for on-chain derivatives, how it works is that these are settled on what we call the mark price. The mark price is used to compute P&L on these products, but there's also managed liquidations. And this mark price is computed over the Oracle price. And where Kaiko helps generally is either by providing directly this Oracle price, but we also are working with oracles like Redstone, for example, on providing them with our prices that are tailored for crypto assets. And they push these prices on chain for protocols like Hyperliquid or other derivative protocols. I took this one because it's on ETH to consume and at least not active liquidations for nothing. I have here a case that maybe most of you know. It's a case where there was a market manipulation for a very liquid asset, the Mango token, due to the fact that the aggregated price was manipulable. And so basically, we call this an Oracle exploit. So basically what happened is that someone called Eisenberg, he actually had $400+ million long position on this asset on Mango markets. And so he manipulated the price on spot markets, on FTX, Ascendex, and other exchanges. The price went up. And so he made a profit of over $100 million out of it, because basically the asset was very illiquid, but also because the price on which this perpetual futures platform relied on was not reliable. Another case where having a fair market price, which is reliable, is important is lending protocols. So lending protocols like Aave, for example, how they consume a price is basically they take a price of some of the assets they're lending or enable borrowing for, and they value the positions, so the lending and borrowing positions of every user that uses a platform. And so basically a liquidation can happen if the price, and so the value of, for example, the borrowed asset goes down, and with respect to what has been lent in dollars, becomes non-sustainable. So if the position becomes non-sustainable, and this is evaluated with the price of the two assets in dollars, then there's a liquidation happening. So imagine if, well, on these platforms you have ETH, but you have a lot other assets. If the price actually is based on very bad data or doesn't manage outliers very well, then it can lead to liquidations. And this already happened dozens of times in DeFi. So here I've put, for those that are very technical, the full paper that describes our methodology. So how we actually 100% transparently, when we ended up producing this very strong and robust to outliers price. And I've summarized here some of its characteristics. And I think the most important one is parsimony. It's basically a price that is a methodology that is based on real data. There is no parameter that we have used and that can change. This methodology works for any crypto asset and is based on their statistics. So it makes it way more robust than other types of methodologies. And also it has been trained on data sets during several periods, stress periods, but also normal periods, which is very important for it to actually work at any point in time. However, having a fair price of a cryptocurrency is also difficult for another reason. Many cryptocurrencies actually are not traded against fiat currencies. And most of the time, if you run a wallet, or if you do tax reporting, or if you actually provide derivatives on chain, or if you actually have a lending and borrowing protocol, you need these prices to be expressed in either a stablecoin or a fiat currency. And so we actually used this methodology and extended it. So you can have the price of any cryptocurrency, and we cover more than 10,000 of them, in any fiat currency, including the Polish fiat currency. So here I have the direct price, so of ETH against Polish zloty. So we see that given that there are no many direct ETH PLN markets, you have a lot of gaps because there is no trade happening, so there is no price. However, if you extend this methodology that I explained in what we call using what we call a liquidity path, you end up having actually the price at any point in time for this pair, which isn't that traded directly on the markets. So here's a summary of basically what this extension of the methodology is about. But basically, if you have ETH as token A and Polish zloty as token B, you can check where the most liquidity is between ETH and USDT, USDT and something else, and create the most liquid path to find the actual fair and the most correct price between these two cryptocurrencies. This cryptocurrency and this fiat currency. Here's a summary. So what I've said is that we provide very robust prices for a bunch of use cases. So our solutions cover a lot of cryptocurrencies and are very robust, are made for this. We have been working on this for at least 5 years. It went through acquiring a company, a research company that was specialized in quantitative analytics, to spending years actually working with oracles like Chainlink on improving this methodology because we observed all the risks. We were exposed to all the risks every day by publishing data since 2018 to Chainlink. And so it was years of efforts that led to these prices, which now serve a lot of use cases already, including these that you see on the screen. And we even go even further, providing prices that are regulated, what we call indices or benchmarks. And so these can be more used if you typically develop ETPs or more institutional use cases. So it's kind of an extension of the other solutions, which rely on different methodologies because it's different use cases, but still can be used for very sensible use cases like you see on the screen. That's it. Thank you very much. We have, I think, some time for questions. Yeah. Yeah.
Hi. First of all, I would like to say before I ask a question that I'm a subscriber to Kaiko reports for a couple of years now, and if you don't know their reports, you should go to the website now and subscribe because it's the best analysis existing on the market currently. Superior. I'm not affiliated with them, and anyway, it's just like pure user experience. Seriously. So without further ado, I have two questions. One question is, establishing fair prices is very important, and it's a big challenge for centralized exchanges, but it's even more challenging for distributed liquidation among cross-chain exchanges in DeFi. And have you done any research towards that? And what do you think is maybe some kind of golden arrow for establishing these prices in the context of AMMs cross-chain?
Very interesting question. Actually, I began my career in crypto 5 years ago by asking myself this exact question: how to actually create fair prices in a DeFi world, which is meant to be cross-chain, because back then it wasn't really cross-chain, but now it is. I haven't ever finished this research because it's a very difficult question. And however, I have some ideas on why it's that difficult. And I think the main reason is because every blockchain has its own rhythm. So blocks on Ethereum are validated, and so trades are validated at a very different rhythm than on L2s, which makes total sense because they're not meant for the same use case. But on the two types of platforms, we do have IMMs. There's that, but there's also the costs that are very different. Gas fees are very different from one to another. And when we're talking about costs, like even gas fees are a cost to take into account when you trade. And finally, bridges. The fact that currently there is no like real efficiency in bridges, and that also it costs money to bridge, and so to benefit from arbitrage opportunities, and so to make the market efficient. All these barriers, I think, make it that today there are price discrepancies between blockchains that can be filled in a certain future, but that add a big challenge for when you're trying to actually find a fair price of a given cryptocurrency that is traded all over the place.
All right. And the second question, like from what you can reveal, since like all the reports are so great, like can you give us maybe a little bit of a heads up on like the biggest research you're doing now, and what we can see soon in the future, like in your reports?
Yeah, of course. So the biggest research we're preparing now is on market abuse. So we talked in the last panel about Mica. It's something where I'm based in France, but we have customers all over Europe. And it's something that we really, really care about. Regulators care about it, but also exchanges care about it because they need to be compliant. And they need to consider market abuse in many forms: wash trading, spoofing. So currently we're researching on finding how to replicate and identify traditional finance type market abuse in crypto. Wash trading and spoofing are the easiest to find. Insider trading is a bit harder. But also we're looking at crypto-specific types of market abuse, like anything that happens on-chain. So yeah, this research will be published in October.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to first thank you for the presentation. It was nice, very nice. I wasn't expecting that by the title of the lecture. And the question is about the representation that you showed about what approach is better for the representation of the value of certain assets. So you gave this by the mean and the median, and which approach is more like proper, and for establishing the correct, I think it's the next slide or not, I don't know. Yeah, this, yeah.
This one?
Yeah, with this
Yeah.
green and red. And I assume this is kind of the FICO approach to price establishing, or this kind of evaluating of the assets.
This is the general approach.
Yeah.
FICO's approach.
Yeah.
And this basically shows that neither the mean or the median are enough when you do a price aggregation that is volume weighted. So volumes are heavy-tailed, price are heavy-tailed. But overall, if you see, gray is median, volume-weighted median. Orange is volume-weighted average price, so mean. And blue is kind of a mix with the methodology paper that I put there. That is Kaiko's approach. So it's really not easy to do it. Yeah, but if you have to choose between a volume-weighted average price and volume-weighted median, of course median, because it looks way better, but still it's not perfect. Thank you.